No one escapes Black Dolphin Prison because no one can. Russia's most feared penitentiary is a human cage designed for the worst of the worst: serial killers, cannibals, and terrorists. Inmates are blindfolded, bent at the waist, and march through a world of relentless isolation. Once inside, they vanish, buried alive in a prison so merciless, even the guards call it hell on earth. What makes Black Dolphin the most terrifying prison in Russia? Let's step inside, if you dare. Fortress of Fear. Hidden near the Kazakhstan border in Sol-Iletsk, a remote Russian town in Orenburg Oblast, Black Dolphin Prison stands as one of the most feared maximum security facilities in the world. But long before it became the final destination for Russia's most dangerous criminals, this location had a different purpose. The prison's origins trace back to 1745, during the reign of Empress Elizabeth of Russia, when it was originally constructed as a fortified outpost. The region was strategically significant, serving as part of Russia's expanding border defenses against potential invasions from Central Asia. Over time, the outpost evolved into a detention center for criminals and exiles, particularly those convicted of serious offenses. By the 19th century, the facility had already gained a reputation for its brutal treatment of prisoners. Russia's penal system was notorious for exiling prisoners to Siberian labor camps, but Black Dolphin took a different path, focusing on high-security containment rather than forced labor. The prison underwent significant restructuring in the Soviet era as Joseph Stalin's government intensified the use of gulags, forced labor camps notorious for inhumane conditions. While Black Dolphin was not one of the primary gulags, it adopted many of the punitive methods characteristic of Soviet-era prisons, including extreme isolation, relentless surveillance, and an unforgiving disciplinary regime. During this period, it primarily housed political prisoners and high-profile criminals. In the post-Soviet years, particularly after the collapse of the USSR in 1991, Russia's prison system faced major reforms. In response to rising organized crime, serial killings, and terrorism, Black Dolphin was officially restructured into Penal Colony No. 6, a supermax prison designed exclusively for the most dangerous criminals. Unlike most Russian penitentiaries, which mix various levels of offenders, Black Dolphin became a prison without hope, a place where inmates are sent to be forgotten. Today, 700 prisoners serve life sentences here, locked away between 3 layers of steel doors and under 24/7 surveillance. The isolation of the prison makes escape virtually impossible. Beyond its impenetrable walls, prisoners face the vast, barren landscape of southern Russia's steppe, a natural barrier as unforgiving as the prison itself. If this prison is already giving you chills, just wait. Things are about to get even darker. But before we continue, smash that like button and subscribe. You don't want to miss what's coming next. Living Nightmare. Life inside Black Dolphin Prison is designed to strip prisoners of any remaining humanity. Upon arrival, new inmates are blindfolded and forced to bend at the waist, hands cuffed behind their backs, as they are escorted through a maze of corridors. This disorienting practice ensures that prisoners never learn the layout of the facility, reducing any chance of escape or resistance. Prisoners live in cells measuring just 50 square feet, with barely enough space to stand and pace. The prison enforces a strict regimen where sitting or lying down is forbidden during waking hours. Guards check on prisoners every 15 minutes, ensuring that they remain either standing or moving. This continuous surveillance, combined with extreme restrictions, is designed to break inmates over time mentally. One of the most brutal aspects of Black Dolphin's system is the complete isolation from the outside world. Unlike many other Russian prisons, inmates receive no visits from family or friends. There are no phone calls, no letters, and no external contact whatsoever. The prison justifies this by stating that its population consists of Russia's most dangerous criminals, including terrorists and serial killers, whose influence on the outside world must be completely severed. The food at Black Dolphin is barely enough to sustain life: a thin, watery soup made from cabbage and potatoes, served with a small portion of bread. There are no eating utensils, forcing prisoners to consume their meals with their hands. This measure, along with the prison's rigid routine, further dehumanizes inmates and ensures they remain under total control. Outdoor time is limited to 90 minutes per day, and even then, prisoners are confined to small enclosed cages resembling dog kennels. These brief moments under the sky are the only escape from their cells, but even here, there is no interaction with other inmates. The cages are separated, and prisoners exercise in complete isolation. While many prisons offer rehabilitation programs, Black Dolphin offers none. There are no vocational training opportunities, no educational courses, and no efforts at reform, only survival. Faces of evil. Inside Black Dolphin Prison, every inmate shares one thing in common. Their crimes are so heinous that society has deemed them unworthy of redemption. The prison's population consists of serial killers, rapists, cannibals, terrorists, and mass murderers, men responsible for some of the most disturbing crimes in Russia's modern history. One of its most infamous residents is Vladimir Nikolaev, also known as the Novocheboksarsk cannibal. Arrested in the 1990s, Nikolaev committed multiple murders before cooking and eating his victims. Shockingly, he even fed human flesh to his unsuspecting friends, disguising it as exotic meat. His gruesome crimes horrified Russia, and his life sentence at Black Dolphin ensures he will never see freedom again. Another notorious inmate is Sergei Shipilov, responsible for a horrific series of murders and rapes in the 1990s. Known as the Velsk Chikatilo, a reference to Russia's most infamous serial killer, Andrei Chikatilo, Shipilov's acts of sexual violence and brutal killings earned him a place in one of the most unforgiving prisons in the world. Even more terrifying is Oleg Rilkov, the Tolyatti Ripper. Between 1992 and 1997, Rilkov raped 37 underage girls and murdered 12 people, often targeting the most vulnerable victims. His crimes were so appalling that authorities ensured he was locked away in complete isolation, never to interact with another human outside of guards who watch over him. The list of monsters inside Black Dolphin is long and deeply unsettling. The prison does not classify inmates by crime. There are no hierarchies or criminal networks. Unlike other Russian prisons where gangs control the inmates, Black Dolphin's system of complete isolation destroys any chance of forming alliances. Every prisoner is treated with equal severity. No favoritism, no bargaining, and no possibility of influence. The Russian authorities have designed this facility to be the final stop for the worst of the worst. One of the most effective tactics used in Black Dolphin is sensory deprivation. Inmates experience extreme isolation, cut off from human contact, news, and even a sense of time. The lack of external stimuli drives many prisoners into paranoia, hallucinations, and even complete mental breakdowns. Studies show that long-term solitary confinement can cause irreversible psychological damage, and in Black Dolphin, this effect is fully intentional. Unlike most prisons, where inmates have some control over their daily lives, prisoners here are subjected to a strict and dehumanizing regimen. Their days are carefully controlled, and the monotony is designed to crush their spirit. The simple act of sitting or lying down during the day is forbidden. Prisoners must either stand or pace their tiny cells for 14 hours straight. There are no rehabilitation programs, no vocational training, no religious services, and no group activities. The only form of permitted reading material is state-approved literature. Prisoners are allowed to listen to only one radio station, state-run programming with strict censorship. The long-term effects of this environment are devastating. Research shows that over 50% of Russia's inmates suffer from severe mental health conditions, and at Black Dolphin, the rate is likely much higher. With little to no access to psychological treatment, inmates are left to battle their own deteriorating minds. Prison break. For over 2 centuries, Black Dolphin was considered impenetrable. However, in 2016, an unprecedented event shook the prison's reputation. An inmate managed to break free. Alexander Alexandrov, a convicted robber serving a 5-year sentence, became the first known prisoner to escape from Black Dolphin. His method was ingenious and shocking. He exploited a minor security flaw in the cell door mechanisms, slipping through undetected during a routine cell inspection. However, his freedom was short-lived. Within a few hours, a massive manhunt was launched, involving hundreds of guards, police officers, and even military personnel. He was quickly captured and returned to Black Dolphin, where his punishment was severe. The escape attempt led to dramatic increases in security, turning an already extreme prison into an even more paranoid fortress. Following the incident, authorities doubled their surveillance measures, adding more cameras, motion detectors, and infrared sensors to prevent another embarrassment. Prisoners were subjected to even harsher restrictions. Security sweeps became more frequent, and random inspections increased. For those inside, the already unbearable conditions worsened, proving that even a momentary glimpse of freedom could result in even greater suffering. Beyond the walls, geography itself makes escape near impossible. Black Dolphin is surrounded by vast, barren landscapes with no cities or populated areas for miles. The closest major city, Orenburg, is nearly 100 miles away, making survival outside the prison incredibly difficult. The freezing winters and scorching summers make the terrain even deadlier for anyone attempting to flee. Most prisoners accept their fate. They know that no one has ever escaped successfully. For them, the walls of Black Dolphin are not just physical barriers, but psychological ones. There is no plan, no scheme, no strategy that can truly set them free. Once inside, the only way out is death, either from old age or the relentless grip of despair. So, what do you think? Should a prison like Black Dolphin exist, or does it cross the line into cruel and unusual punishment? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's most terrifying places.